And I heard two beeps, Jyoti also. All right. And who else? Sukarupa joined us. Okay. Okay, so we have Hare Krishna. We have Sukamal Radhe, Vindyavali Mataji, Kiran Khosla, Varshana Ji, Sutapa, Jyoti, and Sukharupa Mataji. Anybody else?
Okay.
Okay, that sounds good. Then I'm going to start broadcasting on.
At 7, I'm starting the class at 7.
Okay, I think I already started broadcasting on.
Okay.
Yeah, we
Kalle
already
drop
did.
karcho, huh? Kalle drop.
So I will just go and get started after this brief prayers to the special master. Om Jnanatimirandhasya Jnananjan Shalakaya Chakshurunmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha Shri Chaitanya Manobhishtam Sthapitam Yena Bhutale Swayam Rupa Kadamahyam Dadati Swapadantikam Vandeham Sri Guru Shri Yuta Padkamalam Shri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Shri Rupam Sagrajatam Sahagana Raghunathanvitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadhutam Parijana Sahitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Shri Radha Krishna Padan Sahagana Lalita Shri Vishakhanvitamscha Ye Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dinabandho Jagatpate Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastute Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshwari Vrishabhanu Sute Devi Pranamami Hari Priya Vanchukalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya evacha Patitanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jai Shri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Shri Advaita Gadadhar Shivasadi Gaur Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare Gaur Premanande
Hare Hare Bol.
Okay, so let's just do a quick check of who else has joined us here. Sutapa, Sukarupa, Jyoti Kiran, Varshana, Kiran Khosla, Vindyavali, Sukomal Radhe Mataji. That's all. Did somebody drop? Okay. Anyway, let us get going here. So we are going to read from where?
Chapter 8.
Chapter 8, very matter of fact. And then which verse?
22.
Chapter 22, 8.22.
Yes.
Right. So let's see. And what have we been discussing all these days? Nothing?
Discussing something.
Manifest and unmanifest nature, attaining the Supreme, reaching his abode.
Description of Goloka, Brahma's life.
Nice, nice, nice. Okay, good. So now you see, after repeating this for 20 weeks, we have been reading this chapter for 20 weeks, 21 weeks now, 21 days now, right? 21 Fridays. We have 21 times we have gone through it. So it is going to have its effect on us. Okay, so reading order you already know. Let me know whether you are able to see my screen. And what are you seeing on your screen, by the way?
Yes, Mataji. No.
Okay, now.
Attaining the Supreme.
Awesome. Okay.
Chapter 8.
Starting with Sukomal Radhe Mataji.
Okay, Mataji, do you want to put the list up or no? It's okay.
It's there.
You see it?
Can you see it? Am I not sharing that?
Yeah.
Oh, now you are. Now it is. Okay. Attaining the Supreme. Arjuna inquired, O my Lord, O Supreme Person, what is Brahman? What is the Self? What are fruitive activities? What is this material manifestation? And what are the demigods? Please explain this to me.
Who is the Lord of sacrifice, and how does he live in the body? O Masudana, and how can those engaged in devotional service know you at the time of death?
Hare Krishna Ji, the Supreme Personality of Godhead said, the indestructible, transcendental living entity is called Brahman, and his eternal nature is called Adhyatma, the self. Action pertaining to the development of the material bodies of the living entities is called karma or fruitive activities. Hare Krishna Ji.
Hare Krishna. O best of the embodied beings, the physical nature which is constantly changing is called adhibhuta, the material manifestation. The universal form of the Lord, which includes all the demigods like those of the sun and moon, is called Adhideva. And I, the Supreme Lord, represented as the super soul in the heart of every embodied being, am called Adhiyagya, the Lord of sacrifice. Hare Krishna.
And whoever at the
Sudapa.
end of his life is Mataji, quits his body, remembering me alone at once attains my nature. Of this there is no doubt.
Jyoti Mataji.
Whatever state of being one remembers when he quits his body, O son of Kunti, the state he will attain without fail. Hare Krishna Ji.
Therefore, Arjuna, you should always think of me in the form of Krishna, and at the same time, carry out your prescribed duty of fighting. With your activities dedicated to me and your mind and intelligence fixed on me, you will attain me without fail, without doubt.
Sukarupa.
Sukomal Radhe.
Okay, no,
Sukarupa.
now after. Yeah. He who
Sukarupa.
meditates on me as the Supreme Personality of Godhead, his mind constantly engaged in remembering me, undeviated from the path, he, O Partha, is sure to reach me.
One should meditate upon the Supreme Person as the one who knows everything, as he who is the oldest, who is the controller, who is smaller than the smallest, who is the maintainer of everything, who is beyond all material conception, who is inconceivable, and who is always a person. He is luminous like the sun, and he is transcendental beyond this material nature.
Hare Krishna Ji. One who at the time of death fixes his life air between the eyebrows and by the strength of yoga with an undeviating mind engages himself in remembering the Supreme Lord in full devotion will certainly attain to the Supreme Personality of Godhead. Hare Krishna Ji.
Hare Krishna. Persons who are learned in Vedas, who utter Omkara, and who are great sages in the renounced order, enter into Brahman. Desiring such perfection, one practices celibacy. I shall now briefly explain to you this process by which one may attain salvation. Hare Krishna. Sudapa.
The yogic situation is that of detachment from all sensual engagements, closing all the doors of the senses and fixing the mind on the heart and the labhyas at the top of the head. One establishes himself in yoga.
After Hare Krishna Ji, after being situated in this yoga practice and vibrating the sacred syllable syllable Om, the supreme combination of letters. If one thinks of Supreme Personality of Godhead and quits his body, he will certainly reach the spiritual planet.
For one who always remembers me without deviation, I am easy to obtain, O son of Pṛthā, because of his constant engagement in devotional service.
After attaining me, the great souls who are yogis in devotion never return to this temporary world which is full of miseries because they have attained the highest perfection.
From the highest planet in the material world down to the lowest, all are places of misery wherein repeated birth and death take place. But one who attains to my abode, O son of Kunti, never takes birth again. It's very good.
Kiran Khosla.
By human calculation, 1,000 ages taken together form the duration of Brahma's one day, and such also is the duration of his night. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. At the beginning of Brahma's day, all living entities become manifest from the unmanifest state. And thereafter, when the night falls, they are merged into unmanifest again. Hare Krishna. Sudhapa.
Again and again, when Brahma's day arrives, all living entities come into being, and with the arrival of Brahma's night, they are all helplessly annihilated.
Hare Krishna ji. Yet there is another unmanifest nature which is eternal and is transcendental to this manifested and unmanifested matter. It is the supreme and is never annihilated. When all in this world is annihilated, that part remains as it is.
That which the Vedantis describe as unmanifest and infallible, that which is known as the supreme destination, that place from which, having attained it, one never returns, that is my supreme abode.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him.
Mataji, can you move it little? O best of Bharatas, I shall now explain to you the different times at which passing away from this world, the yogi does or does not come back.
Hare Krishna ji, those who know the Supreme Personality, those who know the Supreme Brahman attain that the Supreme by passing away from the world during the influence of fiery God in the light at an auspicious moment of the day, during the fortnight of the waxing moon, or during the 6 months when the sun travels in the north. Hare Krishna.
Yeah.
Hare Krishna. The mystic who passes away from the world during the smoke, the fortnight of the waning moon, or the 6 months when the sun passes to the south, reaches the moon planet, but again comes back. Hare Krishna. Sudhapa.
According to Vedic opinion, there are two ways of passing from this world. One is light and one is darkness. When one passes in light, he does not come back, but when one passes in darkness, he returns.
Hare Krishna ji. Although the devotee knows that two paths, O Arjuna, they are never bewildered, therefore be always fixed in devotion.
A person who accepts the path of devotional service is not bereft of the result derived from studying the Vedas, performing sacrifices, undergoing austerities, giving charity, or pursuing philosophical and fruitive activities. Simply by performing devotional service, he attains all these. and at the end he reaches the supreme eternal abode.
Hari Bol. Thank you for
Hari Bol.
reading. Any reflections? Any observations? Should we go for the chapter or the verse of the day today then?
Yes.
All right. And what is the verse for today?
22.
22. Thank you. Can you see verse number 22?
Yes,
Yeah.
please.
Yes,
Mataji.
Mataji.
Good. Just was checking to make sure. puruṣaḥ sa paraḥ pārtha bhaktyā labhyas ananyayā yasyāntaḥ-sthāni bhūtāni yena sarvam idam tatam. puruṣaḥ, the Supreme Personality. Saha, he. Paraḥ, the Supreme, than whom no one is greater. Pṛthā, O son of Pṛthā. Bhaktyā, by devotional service. Labhyas, can be obtained. Tu, but. Ananyayā, unalloyed, undeviating. Yasya, whom. antaḥ-sthāni, within. bhūtāni, all of this material manifestation. Yena, by whom. Sarvam, all. Idam, whatever we can see. Tatam, is pervaded. Translation: the Supreme Personality of Godhead, who is greater than all, is attainable by unalloyed devotion. Although he is present in his abode, he is all-pervading and everything is situated within him. Purport by Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. It is here clearly stated that the supreme destination from which there is no return is the abode of Krishna, the Supreme Person. The Brahma Samhita describes this abode as Ananda Chinmaya Rasa, a place where everything is full of spiritual bliss. All the variegatedness manifest there is of the quality of spiritual bliss. Nothing there is material. That variegatedness is expanded as the spiritual expansion of the Supreme Godhead himself, for the manifestation there is totally of the spiritual energy, as explained in chapter 7. As far as his material world is concerned, although the Lord is always in his supreme abode, he is nonetheless all-pervading by his material energy. So by his spiritual and material energies, he is present everywhere, both in the material and in the spiritual universes. yasyāntaḥ-sthāni means that everything is sustained within him, within either his spiritual or material energy. The Lord is all-pervading by these two energies. To enter Krishna's supreme abode or the innumerable Vaikuntha planets is possible only by bhakti, devotional service, as clearly indicated here by the word bhaktyā. No other process can help one attain that supreme abode. The Vedas, Gopal Tapani Upanishad 1.21, also describe the supreme abode and the spiritual personality of Godhead. Eko Vashi Sarvagaha Krishna. In that abode, there is only one supreme personality of Godhead, whose name is Krishna. He is the supreme merciful deity, and although situated there as one, he has expanded himself into millions and millions of plenary expansions. The Vedas compare the Lord to a tree standing still, yet bearing many varieties of fruits, flowers, and changing leaves. The plenary expansions of the Lord who preside over the Vaikuntha planets are four-armed, and they are also known by a variety of names: Purushottama, Trivikrama, Keshava, Madhava, Aniruddha, Rishikesha, Sankarshna, Pradyumna, Sridhar, Vasudeva, Damodar, Janardhan, Narayana, Vamana, Padmanabha, etc. The Brahma Samhita 5.37 also confirms that although the Lord is always in the supreme abode, Golok Vrindavan, he is all-pervading so that everything is going on nicely. Goloka eva nivasat nikhilatma bhūtaha. As stated in the Vedas, Shwet Ashvatar Upanishad 6.8, Parasya Shakti Vividheva Shruyate Svabhavaki Jnana Bala Kriyacha. His energies are so expansive that they systematically conduct everything in the cosmic manifestation without a flaw, although Supreme Lord is far, far away. Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing now and you can take reflections on what you heard so far or what you read in the beginning of the session today, like from chapter 8.
Basically, devotional service is the ultimate. I mean, you don't have to, like, kind of charities, austerities. It covers everything.
Right.
Just
And then,
devoting.
correct, right. And then you would have noticed that we have been reading the Bhagavad-gita, chapter 1. What does chapter 1 tell you in Bhagavad-gita? What is chapter 1 all about?
The armies.
Yeah, armies, but what is the main focus? What is the main focus?
It is a Vishad yoga.
Who's Vishad? Who's Vishad? Arjun, right? Yeah. So chapter 1 is all about Arjuna's Vishad. Okay, right. Then what is chapter 2 called?
Summary of Bhagavad-gita.
Right. It's a summary of the Bhagavad-gita, right? Sometimes also known as Sannyas Yoga. So summary of Bhagavad-gita, what is the main thing that you come to know in chapter 2? Anybody who's new to everything and comes and opens the Bhagavad-gita, what is something new that he will find or he or she will find there?
May I say that?
Mm-hmm.
He gives the difference between the soul and the body, describes it very nicely.
And what is the main thing about that comes out in chapter 2? Why is it that we read chapter 2 when somebody dies?
Because it contains the
it talks about soul, like
soul, basically.
Yeah, but what about the soul that we have to read chapter 2 when somebody dies?
It never is. It cannot be cut. It cannot be, burned. It's like everlasting. It never.
It's everlasting, right? Yeah.
Nothing happens to the soul. Nothing happens to the soul. Only the body dies.
Yeah.
Only the body goes.
Only the body dies, right? So that is the main important thing to remember, that Krishna is bringing up that topic of a soul, because so many people don't even know they have a soul. They are brought up in a culture like that. Okay.
In Christianity, they believe in soul, but at the same time, they believe in one thing, that when the person dies, everything is over. Even Muslims also believe in the same philosophy.
Right, but that is rebirth, right? That is not believing in rebirth, right? But they still believe in soul, right?
But Mataji, then how do they, can say the soul means, what do they understand by soul then?
They understand the same thing as we understand by soul.
No, that's right, Mataji. But then what happens to the soul after death? You see, if they don't believe in rebirth, then what happens to the soul? Where does it go?
It goes upper somewhere, right?
They believe that heaven is up.
Yeah.
So they say that it goes to heaven or hell.
Yeah, they go to heaven or hell, right? Yeah, and that is where the difference is. There it is in that philosophy. It is like you are given one chance, you fail it, you failed. You passed. But this philosophy is a little bit more compassionate philosophy, where even if a soul makes a mistake, then the soul is given repeated chances. How many chances? How many chances have you got? Did you get?
Innumerable.
Exactly right. Yeah, millions of births, right? Bahunam janmanam ante jnanvam mam prapadyate vasudeva
sarvamiti. So Mahatma Sudurlabha.
Right? There you go.
And it's like just one word even can be used for the soul, that it's amazing.
Right.
Yeah, it's just
some see upon it as amazing.
Yeah, some hear
think about
it
amazing. Right? And some, right? Some acharyavat katati, and some even after seeing it are completely bewildered. They don't understand.
Yeah, they don't know what to think.
Yeah, so
They don't understand.
It is something amazing. It is something amazing, because I was just thinking that how this material that bhūtva praliyate. I was thinking about that verse the other day, and I was just thinking that so there is God and there is material energy which is dead. And what is it that is so powerful about the soul that the soul enters the body and the body starts moving? It's like a plug that you put, like electrical fan, and you put the plug and the fan starts moving, right? Because of the electrical energy, something like that. So it is amazing, and how tiny it is, right? And yet so powerful. Yeah. Yet so powerful. So in chapter 2 we read that. What do we read in chapter 3?
Karma
Karma
yoga.
yoga.
Karma yoga. And what is karma yoga there?
You have to perform your duty.
Duty. Okay. What is 4?
Knowledge. What is that? Jnana yoga. Just
Yeah.
Jnana
And what is
yoga.
Jnana yoga?
I think it's just Jnana yoga, right?
Yeah. So in chapter 4, knowledge,
Knowledge.
Yes,
Transcendental.
Transcendental knowledge.
So, so people will have transcendental knowledge. People will do their duty. Okay. And 5 is karma yoga. Action in Krishna consciousness.
Krishna consciousness.
Right. So you can do some action in Krishna consciousness. And then 6 was what?
Jnana
What
yoga.
Dhyana yoga. Right. Dhyana yoga. And now 7 was what?
Knowledge of the absolute.
Knowledge, Gyan again, right? Knowledge. Okay. So, and all along as we were reading these for all these months, there was this question that was asked, especially in chapter 6, where, you know, okay, so now this is the Ashtanga yoga, this is being talked about, right? And so do we do that? What are we doing here? And why are we not doing that? So those are questions that come, and are they better because they do all those kinds of fancy things, right? And so in this verse today that we are reading, Krishna has very clearly used the word bhaktyā, right? He's used the word bhaktyā to tell you what? What is today's verse saying?
That you can attain the Supreme Lord by unalloyed devotion.
Unalloyed devotion, right? So unalloyed, he's saying, so you cannot get it through Jnana yoga. You cannot get it through Dhyana yoga, right? You will, of course, if you are a Mayavadi, thinking you are God, then you are completely condemned. But if you are an impersonalist who thinks there is God but doesn't have a personality, you will still go to Brahmajyoti, and then, of course, ultimately you'll fall down from there. So what this verse is actually establishing the fact that bhakti is good. Right?
That's
so
the best.
anywhere you have the, yes, and it is the best. So any time that you have a doubt in yourself, that am I doing the right thing? You know, should I just, go and read all the books possible, and I go and buy all the books and keep them there? Believe me, just the 5 books that Srila Prabhupada has recommended us to read, those 5 books in themselves are so heavy with knowledge that it will take us lifetimes to understand that. So we should not be in that complete quest and that, the thirst to get too much knowledge, right? There's and there are ways in which you will gather the knowledge. One way is that I want to find out all about Krishna, right? So when we say that I want to find out all about Krishna, there is a little smell. There's a little smell of arrogance in it, where I am thinking that through my intellect, I will conquer Krishna, because once I know everything about Krishna, there's nothing to be known, right? But we cannot know everything about Krishna. And the reason for that is not that because we are the body and not the soul, like that, but Krishna is forever changing and he is constantly expanding. So today, if you know this much, then tomorrow he's expanded and you're again outdated, like that on your knowledge front, right? So this verse basically is talking about, and mainly is talking about, the fact that bhaktyā and labhyas ananyayā, right? And I'm just going back to the verse when my computer is frozen.
Shanti. yasyāntaḥ-sthāni bhūtāni.
Right. So he also said puruṣaḥ sa paraḥ pārtha. So that's purusha means personality. So quite a few questions get answered here. Does God have a personality? So he's saying yes here. This verse is telling you that. And then it's also telling you that who is greater than all. So he's param, the best and the greatest. So that is our definition of God, right? And how he's attainable by unalloyed devotion. Unalloyed, and how was unalloyed? Ananyayā.
Bhakti.
Right? Ananya means Anya means something else. And ananya means opposite of that, not something else. So I'm not going after demigods. I'm not going after Gyan. I'm not going after anything. I am just devoted to Krishna. I'm also not going after my own pleasures. I'm just completely devoted to Krishna. Right? So that is ananya bhakti. So that's what he is saying, that.
Undeviating.
Right? And then we read about some very big things, right? Some very humongous things in the previous chapter. What were some of the very big things that we read? And we spent a lot of time discussing it and calculating it.
Nothing about Ashtanga yoga and everything. You see, spending so much time on doing all those activities, and we don't reach anywhere. Brahman Jyoti, and we have discussed that. So we have discussed so many things, but finally Krishna is telling us here very clearly that only unalloyed devotional service is the answer to reach him.
Yeah, but my question was that what was something humongous that you read about in this chapter? Humongous. What's the meaning of humongous?
Huge.
Okay, what was it huge that you read?
In this chapter, just now?
Something enormous.
Brahma's life.
Brahma's life, exactly, right? So we have been hearing about big, big things, right? How many? 311 trillion, 40 billion was his lifetime, life. And this was just within this universe. And there are many, many such universes, right? So we read about that. And then as part of those discussions, I had also mentioned that and Prabhupada in the purports also had mentioned the dimensions of this universe. And he had also talked about the distance, right? Remember? Distance between the sun and the other higher planet, right? And we had we had said that, okay, this is the distance between the sun and the Tapaloka, Janaloka, Brahmaloka, and then we had also said that these are the distances that are being given, and they are beyond our conception. They're really huge. They're really huge. For example, if you were to think about Garbhodakshai Vishnu, right? Where does Garbhodakshai Vishnu live?
In the Dhruvaloka.
Garbhodakshai Vishnu.
In our heart, Mataji. In individual
Vishnu.
individual entities heart.
What is the meaning of Garb?
Mataji, it is under the Bhogaloka.
Which loka? Under which loka? I'm looking for a more precise answer. And I want you to visualize, and I'm going to give you the key word. I asked you what is the meaning of the word garb. What is garb?
Ocean.
Garbha ocean. Garbhodak ocean.
Ocean, ma'am.
Where is it?
In the universe. In the universe.
Well, where in the universe?
The bottom part.
Bottom part of the universe, right? So Garbhodakshai Vishnu is there at the bottom part of the universe. And from now, when we talk about garb means pregnancy, right? A womb. And then when people, when a child is in the womb, how is it connected to the womb?
With the
umbilical cord, right? So, and that, where is the umbilical cord connected to the child?
Brahma.
Navel, right? Yeah. So in the Garbhodakshai Vishnu, do you see something coming from his navel? In the picture?
Lotus, stem of lotus.
Right? And then what is in the stem of the lotus?
Planetary systems.
How many planetary
14.
7.
The 14 planetary systems are there in that stem. And what is that? All right. And the 13 are there. And what is the topmost?
I think Swarglok.
What is the top? What is at the other end of the stem? What is on the other end of the stem? We are moving from Garbhodakshai Vishnu navel.
Brahmaloka.
Correct. And what is the shape of that Brahmaloka? It is shaped as?
Lotus.
Right. Okay. So now you can imagine. You can imagine you lie down and have an umbilical cord going from your navel, right? And try to balance a water bottle on it. Will we be able to do that? Barely. And what is Garbhodakshay Vishnu balancing? All the universe, all the planets, all the local planetary systems in this universe, which is millions and millions and millions of those planetary systems. Planets are there, and he's balancing all that in his view. So that is huge, isn't it?
Yeah.
You can imagine. So if he's able to balance all that, you can imagine his size, right? When you see that picture, right? From the picture, we see a lotus, a stem coming from his navel, and on the top of that there is a lotus. But how big is that lotus compared to his body? So you can imagine how
Very small.
big his body is, right? Yeah. So how big is Vishnu's body, right?
Yeah.
So they are big. They are big. And then he's lying at the bottom of the Garbhodakshay Vishnu. So even if I think that I'll take a flight and go there to Garbhodak and meet him, it's not possible in my lifetime. He's very, very far away, right? So he's huge, but he's very far away. Right? So that is one Vishnu. The other one, from whom all these universes come out, right? What is the name of that Vishnu?
Karanadakshay Vishnu.
Karanadakshay Vishnu, right? And where is he lying?
The causal ocean.
Okay. Now causal ocean, right? Karanodak, right?
Karanodak.
Right. And then from the pores of his body, the universes are coming out. Pores of his body, the universes are coming out. Remember, each universe has got the Garbhodakshay Vishnu in it, which we just now described. Right? So you can imagine how big that Vishnu is.
Mahavishnu.
Right. He's also called Mahavishnu or Narayan or Karanadakshay Vishnu. They're all the same. So how big is that? And so you can imagine how big that Vishnu is and how far away he is from us, right? Because we have been ejected from his body and we found ourselves in this huge universe of which we are a tiny portion, very, very tiny, minute portion like that. Right? And so the distances are huge. The sizes are huge, right? But then do not think, we talked about that just to establish the fact that this is what it is with the Vishnus in the previous verses as we were reading those. But one thing to remember here is that Krishna is saying, yena sarvam idam tatam. Right? He says, I pervade all of this. He pervades even in the atom. He pervades in our heart. And when he pervades in our heart, what is he called? Which Vishnu?
Paramatma.
Shirodakshay.
Shirodakshay Vishnu, correct. Right? The Shirodakshay Vishnu. So Shirodakshay Vishnu lives in the Shir Sagar also, which is one of the planets in our universe. But also he comes to, Dhruvloka. In that Dhruvloka, there is a Shir Sagar. And then a Shir Sagar is where that Samudra Manthan happened, right? And but then he is also in your heart. So one of the things that we need to remember is be cognizant of and be mindful of is that don't get overwhelmed by the size. Don't get disappointed by the distances, because how will I ever meet, right, the Vishnu? Because Krishna, from whom all these Vishnus expand, Krishna is there in your heart as Shirodakshay Vishnu, right? And from his heart, he's guiding you. And he's your support all the time. And when we as living entities have come into this material world, and the primary purpose we have come, most of us have come to this material world is to enjoy. Right? I mean, we were the rebellious souls who did not want to surrender to Krishna. So Krishna created this whole material universe for us and said, okay, you want to enjoy separately of me? I'm making this arrangement for you. Right? But when he set us forth in the beginning of, we saw in the 3rd chapter, that he also sends forth the generations of human beings, he also sends the Vedas with us so that we can live a proper life and then we can go back to Godhead, probably within one lifetime like that. So,
Mataji, can I ask a question if I'm allowed?
Yeah, sure.
So, Mataji, this description of Krishna is a little bit caring, and one can overwhelm that it is difficult to meet Krishna. So what is the purpose of this description? Is it like Krishna trying to make us realize that how small we are, or is he trying to?
Is he trying to?
Or is he trying to? Or is this his way of saying that he pervades everywhere, and he's there whether inside or outside?
Yeah, a couple of things. Remember, Krishna will say in the 9th chapter when we reach there that he says that Mata Dhata Pitamaha. Samoham Sarva Bhuteshu Mata Dhata Pitamaha. So he says that I'm equal to everybody, and I'm also the Mata, I'm also the Dhata, and I'm also the Pitamaha, right? The mother, father, and grandfather. I'm everything. Okay. He's grandfather because he created Brahma, and from Brahma all of us come that way, but he's a great grandfather. Now, if you look at, if we are in that mood, right, because we are also somebody's mata or somebody's pita, like that, right? So when we are having a relationship with our child, and if suppose I'm very great, suppose I'm at a very big position, prime minister of a company, or have got a big business or a big factory or something like that, right? I've got a lot of money with me, I'm very powerful. So when we show all that to our child, our opulences, we normally don't show that with the mood that, look here, I'm so great, right? Majority of us won't do that, right? We just do it with that, this is what I have, and you are my child, you're going to get that as well, right? So when Krishna is talking, and this is what I was emphasizing here, that although in the previous verses we talked about Krishna being so far away, right? And we talked about the humongous lifespan of Brahma, right? We had talked about all that, the distances, this and that. But here, in this particular verse, the emphasis is on bhaktyā, right? So the question then would come to our mind that if Vishnu is so big in size, right, how can I even serve him one glass of water, right? I can't even imagine how big that glass is going to be, right? So when Vishnu fills you with awe and wonder, right? Like he's huge, he's big. Right? And some people are in that mood, they go to Vishnu, right? But in this particular verse, he's saying, bhaktyā labhyas ananyayā. If you just do my bhakti, you will achieve me, right? And what I was trying to emphasize was that don't get disheartened by the fact that he's so big, Vishnus are so big, and they are so far away. How can I ever meet them? Krishna is saying here, yena sarvam idam tatam, I am there, I am pervading everything. So instead of thinking that how far Krishna is, think about how near Krishna is to you. And that actually comes in very handy, because when we realize that Krishna is there in my heart, listening to everything, whether I'm speaking or whether I'm thinking about it, we'll be very careful about what we do and what we think, right? We will also think about it in a different way, that Krishna is also there, very close to me to protect me. And so that is the mode that this particular verse is saying, that and you will achieve it. For the jnanis, they cannot. Because in the previous verses, in the previous chapter 7th, we read, Bahunam Janmanam Ante Jnanvan Mam
Vasudeva
Sarvamiti Samahatma Sudurlabha. Right? So what does that mean? Bahunam Janmanam. Bahu means many, 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 many births. After many, many, Jnanvan. Jnanvan means those who are the jnanis, those who are trying to understand what God is. So they did a Bhakti Shastri this life, Bhakti Vaibhav next life, Bhakti Vedanta, like that. They keep on thinking about, with their intellect, they're trying to find God, right? But after many, 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 many such endeavors, when you finally, start to understand Krishna, what else will you do other than do bhakti to him, right? And that is what you notice, that in our Srimad Bhagavatam, we read so many stories where we find that, Dhruva Maharaj sees Krishna, and, he starts spouting beautiful poetry. Same thing happens to Prahlad also. I mean, Prahlad, of course, was the son of a demon, right? And still they start doing that, because Krishna by nature is like that. You look at that. I mean, we are in Kali Yuga, we don't do much of poetry. We are in the material world, we don't do much of poetry. But we read, right? Katha Ganam Natyam Gamanam, right? when we were describing the spiritual planets. So there it says that when people talk, they talk in songs. They don't have sentences like I'm telling the sentence to you. And that's why you see when Sukdev Goswami narrated the Bhagavatam, it was in shlokas, right? So they talk like that. And Kali Yuga, we don't do it. So what we will do is, like, when we find something very nice, we will say, wow, somebody very beautiful, wow, you're so beautiful. That's all we can say. We might glorify a little bit more, few more sentences we might add. But when it comes to God and we are standing in front of God, this thing will spontaneously spout from you, because that's the impact Krishna has on all of us, like that, right? So today's verse I just wanted to mention here is focusing on bhakti. Bhaktyā labhyas ananyayā, right? But the bhakti has got to be ananyayā. And in the purport for this verse, Prabhupada was quoting from some of the verses from one of the verses from Brahma Samhita. And that verse actually is 5.37 Brahma Samhita, which is actually the longest, has the longest purport, right? In Brahma Samhita, you remember when we used to read the Brahma Samhita from the book?
Yeah.
And then it would go to, when we were like, okay, now let's go to page number 73 to the translation for 5.37. You remember those days? Yeah. So that, because talks about the 64 artistic qualities and, like that about Krishna over there. Now, one more thing that it's a very interesting thing, which Prabhupada brings about in the purport here, where he's saying that Krishna, and let me read that from you, because it's a very interesting thing, where he says that he pervades this entire universe, right? Yena sarvam idam tatam, right? So he pervades this entire universe. And then he says that although the Lord is always in the supreme abode Goloka, right? Padam ekam, right? He does not even take one step out of the Golok Vrindavan, Krishna. So he says that he's there, but his energies are so expansive. His energies are so expansive that they systematically conduct everything in the cosmic manifestation without a flaw, although the Supreme Lord is far, far away. So when it says that, the Supreme Lord is present everywhere, how is he present? Well, in this material world, I see everything is material. Of course, I know that Krishna is there in every atom, so that is how it is. But one of the things that he's emphasizing here in this verse is that this material energy is also mine. Devi Esha Gurumari, Mama Maya Duratyaya, right? This is Maya, my Maya, right? So this is the material energy is also mine. And in the fourth, in the Chaturshloki Bhagavatam, Krishna says in the ninth chapter of the second canto, where he says, Rite Ritam Yat Pratyeta Na Pratyetya Atmani. So there he's actually saying that there is no difference between the spiritual energy and the material energy. Material energy becomes material energy and bad only when you try to utilize it in your own favor. When you utilize the material energy in the favor of the Supreme Lord, it becomes tadiya. Anything that you utilize in the service of the Lord is called tadiya, and tadiya is transcendental. Right? That is why when you have a spiritual master and he gives you his clothes or his shoe or his sock or glove or something like that, right? We don't wear it. It's transcendental. It was worn by the representative of the Lord and was utilized by the Lord, by the spiritual master in the service of the Lord, right? He uses his hands in the service of the Lord. So the glove also in contact with the hand becomes transcendental. And we keep it, we revere it, we don't wear it like that, right? So one of the things also to remember is that when we look at Krishna playing the flute and all that, then it's like, why? How does all this happen? So Krishna has got his energies, and this energies have got his, jnana, bala, kriya, cha. It says, jnana, knowledge, bala is strength, and then kriya is actually doing it. So his energies will do all that stuff for him. And Krishna enjoys and plays the flute and with his cowherd boys, or he dances and enjoys like that. For all the other managerial works that he has to do, he expands and becomes Vishnu, and then they will do all the jobs. And then, of course, there are so many demigods who are taking care of this material world. When should it rain? When it should storm? When there should be a tornado? When there should be floods? When there should be a fire? All that. And when you should breathe and how you should breathe. you know, how the food is digested, everything they are being done. We don't do anything, right? Like we don't say, okay, now I have cooked the food, I'm doing it. I've eaten the food, I'm doing it. Okay, now I'm going to digest the food. We don't do that. Digestion happens automatically. Now, how does it happen automatically, right? So there are demigods involved in all that stuff for us, and they are appointed representatives of Krishna who do that for us. Okay. So I'll stop here. There are 7 minutes left to 7 o'clock. Any questions, comments, reflection from anything that we read or spoke so far? Let me know. If no question, then maybe I should ask a question. Choice is yours.
Balji, I just got reminded in the beginning of the class, we were discussing about, you know, in some religion, we don't have concept of soul, right? I mean, they don't have concept of soul. Someone in the class was asking, right? I mean, what do they do? Like, so I just got reminded of a story, you know, when my sister was in bio class and they would dissect this frog and all, you know, in their high school, and after the dissection and all, right? I mean, they would sew the skin and all, and they would leave that frog in the water, right? I mean, so that, I mean, because they believe, like, you know, the teacher would say to the student that they have a soul and okay, we are doing this thing, but you know, they have to leave, right? You know, so they would sew the skin and everything. They will put back the organ and sew the skin, and they will leave those frog in the water, whatever, right? And here back in US, because majority of the professors are Christian and they don't believe in soul and all, right? So one of my friend who was also a bio student, and they would do the same thing, not with the frog, but with some other animal, or you know, they would do, and the professor would say, just throw it, you know, they won't put the organ back, and so the animal, whatever the animal they were dissecting, you know. So and the professor would say, no, they're just animal, they don't have soul, so just throw them, you know. So that's why I just got reminded, like say like maybe 20 years back story, but then when we were discussing, I was thinking of sharing the story with you.
Yeah. It's so interesting that not only living beings, but I think the Vaishnava culture respects everything, considering that like if you read this today's verse where it says yena sarvam idam tatam, when he's saying that I pervade everything, the next time you're putting a dish in the dishwasher, would you like to kick it shut? No, right? That's why we touch things with our feet. Right? If the dishwasher has to be closed, then we close it with our hands. So that's the respect that we give, understanding that it is Krishna's energy and we should not be doing things like that. Yeah. So asur and sur, that's the difference. Those who believe in God, right? They behave differently. And that's why this is very important knowledge to have, that there is a God. And sometimes, Prabhupada also explains in his lectures that it is envy. We came here to this material world because of our envy of Krishna, right? Envy was like, why is everybody serving you? Why are they not serving me? Why do I have to serve you? I'm equally good, right? I'm transcendental, you're transcendental. What's the big deal, right? So it's the same envy that pervades the scientists who have a great pride in their knowledge, and they will come up with all kinds of theories to prove that there is no God. And I remember one devotee used to say, was a scientist, and used to say that the more you go into science and more you understand, for example, if you take a stem and you dissect it and like cut it like that and put it under a microscope and you observe it, how can you not think that there is a God, right? How are these things happening so precisely and methodically? It doesn't happen in my home, right? You leave something, it gets left there, right? If you leave the food outside, then it'll rot. Things don't happen. The shopping has to be done. Grocery doesn't come automatically to my home. But if I plant something, then the fruit will come automatically. I just have to put water. Sometimes not even that. So how are these things happen automatically? Right? And there's a nice story of I think it was in UK that there was a devotee of the Lord, and of course, the Vaishnava, and he had a scientist friend, and the scientist friend just did not believe in God at all. He was a very good friend, but this was point of dissension between the two, that this one believed in God, that one didn't, and he was like, no. So how was the food? How do you think the world was created? Well, there was a big bang, and then it happened. Okay. So then one day the friend came to meet him. The professor friend came to meet the devotee friend, and the devotee friend was in his other room. And then, so when his friend came, the son opened the door and asked him to sit. But then the father said, okay, call him to this room. Tell him I'm in this room. So he went to that room. And in that room, what he had done was he had set up a nice model, very beautiful model of the solar system, right? Our solar system. So there was a sun, and there were all those planets, etc., and they were revolving. They were revolving around the sun like that. So very beautiful, and each with their own speed. Each planet was of the same, of the corresponding size, and so much Jupiter big, like that, Mars small. All that was going on. It was nicely. They were all rotating, in the proper manner. And then the professor said, wow, this is such a nice model. Like, show me how it works. And then the Vaishnava said, it works by itself. So he said, come on, you're kidding. How can it work by itself? He said, just as you say that there is no God and all the planets just rotate around the sun by itself, by themselves, right? And that was the turning point in the professor's life, he took to Krishna consciousness. So when we are arrogant and we think we are jnanis, then we will come up with these kind of things like Big Bang. Yes, we also believe in the Big Bang, but we also believe in the source of the Big Bang. There is a Big Bang and all these universes come out of the body. And why do the universes come out of the body? We have an answer for that also. And what is your God and where does the God live? We have an answer for that also. After I go, where will I go? We have an answer for that also, right? Depending on where you did and what your next steps are, we have answer to everything. We have an answer to God, to his address, to the description of his planet. Everything is there, right? You just have to work on getting the ticket to go there. So yeah, good point that you raised, Sukarupa Mataji.
Mataji, the temple in the Mayapur is also going to describe all the planets moving around.
Yeah, Temple of Vedic Planetarium. Yeah, that's the very good thing. Yeah, and show things in the Shastrik, from the Shastrik perspective. I'm really hoping someday I'll be able to go there and watch it. I was very impressed when I saw. The planetarium, and it was in Bombay, I think. Yeah, it was very enchanting for me to watch that. So I'm really now interested in knowing, the Pṛthā Loka, this Loka, that Loka. How does it look? Yeah, really, that's nice, and it's a humongous effort. That whole project being put up.
That is fully ready, Mataji? Mayapur.
No, I don't think so. That will be a big news that day. Yeah. Okay, so on that happy note of the Mayapur temple, let's call it a day here today. Thank you so much, dear devotees, for joining the class and for participating.
Dandavat pranam,
Reading.
Thank you, Mataji. Dandavat pranam.
Thank you so much, Mataji.
Thank you so much,
Again
Mataji.
on Sunday. Okay, well, we'll do the recitation. Till then, Vanchakalpatarubhyascha, Patitanam Pavnebhyo, Vaishnavebhyo, Namo Namaha, Gopremanande, Hari Hari Bol.
Thank you very much,
Thank you
Mataji.
so
Thank
much.
you.